What's up, everyone? We got some updates about Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, there's new images that appeared in the Edge magazine of issue number 408. There's also a bit of information about other aspects of the game. Doom looks to the past for its biggest and weightiest iteration yet. The combat system is going to be a mix of offensive and defensive mechanics. The shield is going to be a way to block and parry attacks from enemies. There's a lot of emphasis on using the shield to block attacks, but if you time it properly, you can deflect projectiles and also stun enemies that use hand-to-hand combat. The shield saw is going to be something you can use against different enemy types, which puts a lot of focus on close-range combat for Doom: The Dark Ages. Some enemies will shoot multiple projectiles at once. You'll notice one of them is green, and it seems like that's the one that can be deflected, so watch out for that one. The magazine also gives us an art piece of one demon we saw in the trailer. I talked about this one in a previous video, and it looks like they were either the Agadon creatures or another variation of them, which were later excavated in the story of Doom Eternal to create the Doom Hunter. They also mentioned the Shield Rune. It affects a range from electrocuting an area to a machine gun turret spawning on your shoulder. Glory kills are in the game, but now trigger from any angle, instead of locking you into an animation in front of your foe. The shield is worn on the Slayer's left arm. It occupies the left shoulder buttons on the controller, with the right given to shooting and melee strikes. A squeeze of the bumper throws the shield, launching it like a discus in the style of Captain America, while the trigger raises it to block. When thrown, the shield produces different effects, depending on the material it strikes. For example, it will explode enemy plasma shields, causing an electrical blast before ricocheting around the area. If it hits flesh, the blade will dig in and spin, locking the unfortunate victim. It will bounce harmlessly off armor, but armor that's been subjected to heat will shatter, creating a blast around it. The shield can be used to shatter weakened links on chains, to reveal hidden areas, or lodge it into machinery and activate it, or stick into marked props so you can leap across it. When you parry an attack from a demon, they enter a falter state, which is a momentary stun effect. If you hold block, it has a lock-on feature attaching to enemies and certain objects in front of you. Hit the right trigger while locked on, and you perform a shield bash, which sends you rocketing towards the target. There's a section that highlights a new feature to make changes to the game's mechanics. This way, you can make the game faster, slower, or adjust other settings. To make it easier or more difficult, you can customize different things, making it very accessible for all types of players. One art piece shows what looks like a massive demon that was defeated, which could have been here for a very long time. There's also a very large sword plunged into its body. Another one looks like some area in hell with a green color scheme. You can see cacodemons in the back, and also another demon type way at the end. The art style reminds me of what we saw back in Doom 2016. There's a small similarity. One section talks about these runes you can unlock. One of them is ethereal daggers that fly out from above the player and start attacking enemies on screen. It's a great crowd control mechanic. Melee uses are now charged through successful parries, and the melee weapons are going to differ. The gauntlet is the quickest but weakest. The flail takes longer to charge but strikes hard with more reach, and the mace is the hardest hitting melee weapon, but it takes time to charge and cool down. The plasma rifle now offers twice the output thanks to a pair of twin piston barrels, and there's an accelerated version more like a plasma SMG. They spent a lot of time working on the Atlan section of the game just to make sure it feels right, in a way to convey its destructive power. The Slayer's progression system is more streamlined now, with fewer currencies for you to seek out. Another art piece shows a massive structure with a giant skull at the main entrance. They wanted to put Atlans in the game for 8 years. We've been hinting at it, and modeling them and putting them in the environments. In so many interviews, we sit down with somebody, and the first question is about the story. There's YouTube channels dedicated to analyzing every little bit of iconography. If there wasn't so much interest in it, they wouldn't do it. They also found through some data that a large percentage of people who play through the game will watch the cutscenes. They talk about how armor will protect enemies from the spinning blade of your shield. You can use any gun whenever you want, but there's a rock, paper, scissors format in selecting effectively. There's also some art pieces of weapons. And here we have an art piece of the dragon you can use later in the game with a slayer at the side. So that's it for now. That is all the updates for Doom the Dark Ages, and watch this next video. It's where I translate all the maker language throughout Doom Eternal, which reveals hidden messages.